How do I stay motivated for a new job after years of failure and not caring? It feels like my floundering and desperation has led me to a point where I cannot afford to fail again. I'm dirt poor, I have some addictions I should kick, and my loved ones worry about me. The last 3 years of my life has included repeated collegiate flunkage, various firings from crappy jobs, and a whole plethora of bullshittery on my end. Months of unemployment forced me to begrudgingly apply myself. I scored a job with a company that will pay me more than I've ever made in the past, with an opportunity for promotion and epic cash flow. A part of me is excited and relieved for this new opportunity. However, another side of me is saying, oh crap, oh God, what if I screw up again? It feels like this job is a precious baby otter, and I'm just a goblin with credit card debt. But my biggest fear is that my inner goblin will decide to stop caring about this otter, and I will once again exterminate my chance for success. So my question today is, how do I channel excitement for potential success into a long-term, hard-working attitude? I know that this problem I have won't be cured by an easy solution, but honestly, just writing it out feels good. Has anyone out there experienced this feeling? If so, what did you do about it? Any and all advice and comments would be greatly appreciated. I know, someone's saying, what colorful prose? My thoughts exactly. Someone's a gifted author. Okay. So this is a job post about someone who, has not been doing great in life, flunked out of college, maybe got addicted. People are worried about him. Not doing great, and then sort of applied themselves and ended up getting a job with the option of epic cash flow, right? So now they're excited and they're afraid that they're going to screw it up. And their question is, how do I channel my excitement into like long-term motivation and drive? And the short answer is you don't. So long-term motivation and drive does not come from excitement. So this is something that's very important to understand. Long-term motivation and drive doesn't come from excitement. It comes from doing away with all of the negative stuff. So I want you guys to think about it this way. So imagine that you're starting a fire. And so you have some lighter fluid on there, right? Which is like that's the excitement. So excitement is by definition going to wane over time because it's emotions. We can't stay perpetually excited. And this is the major trap that a lot of people fall into, is when they get a spark of excitement, they work really hard, they feel excited, and then like something happens and their old patterns set in, and then their excitement wanes over time, and then things end up falling apart, right? So we see the cycle over and over again. A burst of motivation and excitement, followed by some progress, followed by back to square one. So how does that happen? People think that what I need to do is continue the excitement, and it sort of makes sense because excitement is what got you out of the rut. So you think, okay, like how do I increase my excitement? How do I maintain it? How do I advance? Whereas what I'd say is that, excitement is like lighter fluid. So imagine you're trying to start a fire and you place some logs or you put some lighter fluid and you kind of light it. But then the reason that your fire goes out is not because of an absence of lighter fluid. It's because there's like rain and there's like wind. And then you've got this tiny little fire and you don't know how to keep it going. Or you can keep it going for a few seconds or a few minutes. But it's really the negative aspects of your life weighing down on you that ultimately destroy your long-term motivation. So if we look at this person's post, we can even see it in their language, right? So let's just kind of take a look at, it feels like my floundering in desperation. I cannot afford to fail. Dirt poor, some addictions, various firings, plethora of bullshittery, begrudgingly apply myself, yuck, right? And I feel like I'm just going to screw it up again. Like failure is inevitable. I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up because I've screwed it up so many times in the past. So if you want real motivation, what you really have to do is nurture that fire, right? Like you have to protect it from the negative stuff. So motivation, each and every human being is actually naturally motivated. If you look at it like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's not that we have to find motivation. It's that like what's learned is actually a lack of motivation. Being unmotivated is the modification. The default is actually to be motivated. And if you don't believe that, all you have to do is look at a child. Every child is motivated to walk. Every child is motivated to learn how to pick up a ball. Every child is motivated to like interact with other children, right? As children, we see the most natural state of the human, which is to like strive to like grow and learn and do things. Like, you can't get kids to sit still. They get bored easily. They want excitement. They want to explore. They want to go do things. So the most natural element of a human being is actually to be motivated towards something. So what gets in the way? It's all the negative crap that kills the motivation. So long-term sustained motivation does not come from increasing your excitement, because excitement can absolutely get us out of the rut. Long-term motivation actually comes with processing the negative things that hold us back. Because what this person needs is not fuel for the fire. What they need is freedom from like the negative emotions. They need freedom from the doubt and freedom from the fear and freedom from the idea that inevitably I will screw this up as I have before. Because what's going to happen in this person's mind is very similar to our last case, which is when some natural thing happens that causes a negative impact in their performance, all of these negative thoughts will be like, oh, see, you're screwing it up again. You're screwing it up again. You're screwing it up again. There it goes. You knew you couldn't do it. You got uppity and you tried, and see what happened. You're doomed to failure. When the truth is that, there's going to be fluctuations in your job, no matter what. So let's say they've got an opportunity for promotion, and someone there happens to be like better at the job than they are. And then that person gets promoted. And so like, even though next round that this person, you may still get promoted, like you just lost this one, you can apply next year or next 6 months or whatever, and you'll get promoted that time. But in those natural fluctuations, as your negative emotions start to leverage themselves in that space, then your motivation is going to become, go to crap. So the truth is that if people are asking, how do I maintain my excitement for the sake of like long-term motivation? Long-term motivation does not come from maintaining excitement. Excitement can help you out of the rut, but what you really need to work on is, why do you assume that the default position is going to be failure? Right? And there's good reasons to assume it. I'm not saying you shouldn't assume that that's the case, because, you're a smart person and you've learned that I tend to screw things up. But by taking that possibility seriously, by looking at it seriously, by understanding, hey, like I've screwed things up in the past, and these are my vulnerabilities. By respecting those vulnerabilities, by taking them seriously, by taking the fact that you do screw things up pretty seriously and working on it very authentically, you can actually overcome them. Because even though you have screwed things up, does not mean that you will continue to screw things up. Past performance is not a guarantor of future gains, right? This is a very important thing from like people who trade stocks. Just because a stock has done well for the last 100 days doesn't mean it will continue to do well for the future 100 days. Just because your life has led to certain conclusions which may be fair does not mean that those conclusions need to form your destiny. So the destiny is still in your hands. You need to just take your problems very seriously. You need to recognize that you have an awesome opportunity for epic cash flow. Is there a likelihood that you'll screw it up? Absolutely. And it's by respecting the possibility that you will screw it up that you actually give yourself the best chance of success. So I'm going to share with you guys a quick learning from TI. So I've worked with several esports teams, and there are some teams that, if you really want the best chance to win a game, the best chance to win a game is to accurately assess what your chances of winning the game are. So there are some teams that will be better than their opponents, and they'll think things like, oh, these people are crap. We got that. We got this, right? These people are trash. They play trash Dota, and we're gonna stomp them. And when you enter the game with that attitude, there's a decent chance, you have a greater chance of losing. The right attitude to have is that, hey, we are better than these people, but this is the international. And anyone, they're going to be playing their best, and they're going to try to take games off of us, right? Even though if you're favored in a match, you still have to respect your opponent. Don't over-respect them, but respect them enough. I've seen the flip side of this too, where sometimes teams are intimidated by their opponent, and they're not favored, right? So let's say you've got a 20% chance of winning this game. And so what these teams will do is will psych themselves up. They'll be like, oh, these guys aren't that great. Even though back of your mind, you know that they're probably better than you are. But people don't want to say that, right? Because they're afraid. I don't know what's going on with this color, by the way. But they don't want to say that. So what they do is they psych themselves up, and they're like, oh, these people aren't that good. We're better than they are. We can beat these noobs. They're not that great. They're not that great. Oh, we can do this. And then what happens is when you enter the game and you have an 80% chance of losing, you start to lose, and then that false confidence comes crumbling down. So one of the key things I learned from TI is having authentic doubt is better than having false confidence. So if you really want to win that game against an opponent who's better than you are, you have to go in understanding that you're not favored to win. The attitude that you want is that I may not win, but I have a chance. So like, even though I'm not favored, like there is a way that I can win this game, and I just need to look for it. These people are not perfect. Are they better than I am? Sure. But they're not going to, their chances of winning are not 100%. I can win this game, even if they're better than I am. I just need to look for them to screw up. They're going to be playing with overconfidence, and I'm going to punish them for it. So to be very authentic about your situation. Have you failed in the past? Yes. Should you be careful about failing in the future? Absolutely. Respect your opponent. Take it seriously. And by doing so, you'll actually have the best chance of doing really well and actually coming out on top. So if you want to hit that epic cash flow, you can't underestimate your chances and you can't overestimate your chances. Take your problems seriously, respect them, and understand that if you respect your problems, they can actually be worked on and they're not invincible. You can overcome the things that have held you back, right? Your past does not dictate your future. You are in control of this. You just need to take it seriously.